tickets at bendelacreme.com. Post. Oh, God. Post pin. I did it. Don't miss my last show in LA tonight at Dynasty Typewriter, 8 p.m. Tickets at bendelacreme.com. Okay, I got it right. The last time I said, don't miss my last how. Anyway. Yeah. Somebody wrote a comment on one of my posts today that said, I wish you were at DragCon. I'm not at DragCon, but I still wish you were at DragCon. And I was like, what did I ever do to you? What a weird wish. I don't want to go to DragCon. Don't make me go to DragCon. Anyway, I hope you're all having fun at DragCon, but I don't want to go. I want to perform a show. I'm so thirsty. Since Jinx is on All Stars, would you ever consider going back to Drag Race? What do those things have to do with each other? I am coming back to Seattle. I'll be performing this show in Seattle in July at the Triple Door. Go to bendelacreme.com for tickets. UK, currently there are UK tickets on sale at bendelacreme.com. I'll be there in June doing this show, Ready to Be Committed. All my tour dates and tickets are available at bendelacreme.com. So exciting. So easy, all one-stop shopping. Oh, thank you, Josh. Hi, Montreal. I'm coming to perform with you too. Oh, thank you. I'm glad this feels like ASMR to you. I've been told that my voice can be ASMR-y. I think it's because of my extreme vocal fry, which is terrible for my vocal cords. I really have to train myself to speak up in like the upper part of my mouth hole, but this is not how I naturally speak. I speak down here, which is in my throat, and it's really bad for me, and I have to, but these muscles are like not in great shape that push me up into this part of my mouth, but I have to get used to it. Anyway, I have to do my vocal exercises. But you know what? I'm really busy. But anyway, my vocal fry apparently is very soothing. Or lawnmower voice, as I've heard it referred to. I'm excited. Tomorrow's a travel day, because then we're going to Salt Lake City for one show, and I'm excited to have one day to sort of like not just give my voice a little rest, but also I'm excited to not shave for a day because my skin is mad at me. How did I come up with my drag name? Well, when I first moved to Seattle, I'd been performing drag for a long time under a different name in Chicago. My character's name was Tina Angst, and she was like a punk girl. There were definitely notes of her in Goth Kitty on All Stars 3. That was kind of a callback to my old school punk angry drag days. And so But I was done with that character. I'd been sort of morphing in slowly into a more like positive character, but I still just had the name Tina Angst because, you know, when you get booked under one name, you can't really like change it because it's bad for branding when you're trying to get started. So when I moved to Seattle, it was a chance to change my name, but my first job was performing at the Can Cabaret down in Pike Place Market. I got hired as the MC, and I auditioned in drag, and the owner liked me and wanted to hire me and thought I was a very good MC, but he was like nervous about having a drag queen. So the deal was he was hiring me and I could do drag like some of the time, but other times he wanted me to host like as a male or in like gender fuck, which I was like, okay, sure, whatever, but nothing is more challenging to like a boring straight audience, because this was in Pike Place Market, which is all like, you know, tourists, and this was before Drag Race was ever a thing, so drag was like not as ubiquitous as it is today. Anyway, but I was like, that's actually way more challenging than just plain drag, but I was like, sure, whatever, sounds fun. So I needed to pick a name that kind of worked for all of my different gender presentations, and the other performers all had names that were based on their given names. One of them is still my very good friend, like one of my very best friends, who I think of as my brother, who we perform together all the time, and I love him so much, but Faggoty Randy. And so Randy's given name is Randy, and all the dancers' names were a play on their given names, and my given name is Ben. And so I went with it, and I did bendelacreme, and that sort of suited me both in and out of drag. And the name stuck. The end. You know, I say happy birthday to you. I have to say happy birthday to everybody. Everybody has a birthday every day. You'll have one next year, and every year after that. Birthdays are like literally the only thing that doesn't make any of us special, because we all have them all the time. But happy birthday, I guess. I love Jennifer Aniston. I think Jennifer Aniston is an incredible actress. You know, I always liked her on Friends when I was young, but I don't think appreciated what an incredible actual comedic actress she is. And then I got really into her watching The Morning Show, which is such an incredible show, and she's so brilliant on it. And it's like this very difficult, dramatic role, and she's like always in tumult, but like really earnestly so, and it's such a gorgeous performance that it made me go back and rewatch Friends, because I was like, oh my god, she's so smart and so talented and so gifted. And then I was like, oh, this performance is not just, you know, sometimes a comedian is just like, I don't know, they're never just like, being a comedian is very hard work and underappreciated work. But anyway, I had not appreciated Jennifer Aniston's full brilliance, but she's very, very good. Somebody said more stories, but you have to ask me for a story, because I don't know what story to tell you. I don't know. I could tell you more about how much I love Sid Croft. He, like I said, came to the show on Thursday, and he was just so sweet, and he like flipped his lid and talked about how much he loved the show a lot. Oh my god, I'm moving too slowly. Hurry up. Okay. Gotta focus. He talked about how much he loved the show a lot. But anyway, Sid Croft, if you don't know who he is just like this brilliant guy. He's 92 now, 93. But he produced like 80,000 billion TV shows throughout like the 70s. And actually maybe he started in the 60s. I'm not sure. But he was a puppeteer. He used to travel with Judy Garland as her opening act. He was like friends with Mae West and Liberace. He's amazing. He has so many cool stories. But he invited me up to his house in the Hollywood Hills, and his house is so crazy. It is like, it just is like this wild thing out of his imagination. He designed the whole thing and just built it with his friends. And, you know, it's like this plot of land on like the tippy top of one of the Hollywood Hills that he bought, you know, in whatever decade, like a long time ago, for, I don't remember what he said the amount was, but in an insanely low number. He bought this plot of land that now is, of course, worth, like, I'm sure, billions. And, but he just has this beautiful house. There's, like, no walls, like, exterior walls. They're all glass. And you can just see the entire, like, all the hills in the city. And he has, like, a tree house. And there's, like, koi tanks, like, built into the walls. And, like, no right angles anywhere. And, like, all of these mosaics. And, like, ugh, it's just so beautiful. He has, like, birds living in his house everywhere. And, he's such a cool person, and I just am in love with him. I'm in love with Sid Croft. What can I say? Oh, somebody just said that they saw Ready to Be Committed last year in Provincetown. I hate to break it to you, your sense of time is as messed up as mine is. That was 2019. It's 2022 now. You definitely didn't see it last year. But I get confused too, and I call 2019 last year all the time because that's the last time that I was really doing a lot of things. Like, you know, out in the world. I've been doing a lot of other things. What was I talking about? They asked if I've changed much in the show. Sorry, I'm coffeeing up. Since 2019, there's been a lot of visual production upgrades, like all the costuming, not all the costuming, but 90% of the costuming is revamped, and there's a lot more sort of visual bang. I've modernized, I've reworked some of the stuff to kind of bring it into our sort of contemporary post-COVID experience. But, you know, the show is all about love and relationships and loss and fear of being alone. Of course, all told through very, like, funny, goofy means. You know, it's like, you know, song parodies and penis puppets. But, you know, it's all about those themes, and those themes are kind of more prevalent than ever, right? Like, we all just spent a lot of time either being stuck with our partners or being stuck alone, and so that's really what the show's about. So it still feels really relevant. Do I find it challenging writing, starring, and directing, or does it come naturally? Both. The answer is both. It is very, very hard work, and it's hard work that I really love. And I do a lot of hard work, and I do love all the aspects of my job, but my favorite thing and the thing that comes most naturally is when I get to create, when I get to fully produce something. So whether it's a solo show or like the work I do at the holidays with Jinx, which, you know, we write that together, we create and collaborate together, but then I sort of do the final production and I direct it, right? So I'm like putting together the pieces, all the costuming, hiring the dancers, running the rehearsals, doing the kind of getting all the music produced, props made, you know, and Jinx and I usually write all the dialogue together and like come up with all the concepts for the numbers, but then I usually do a lot of the structure. We work on it together. We work on the structure together a lot, but structure tends to be sort of something that I have a weird knack for some reason. So anyway, the point is this stuff does come naturally, but I also love it so much that I can't imagine not doing it. So it's hard work. It does come naturally. But just because things come naturally doesn't mean they're easy. And it doesn't also mean that, I mean, you get better by doing them more, right? I mean, I feel pretty confident about the work I create now, but it comes from like years and years and years of failing, you know? Failing is part of success. But But this show was, let me tell you, a whole hell of a lot of work to get all put together. And the tour, producing the tour, woof, that is also, that's the boring work, because it's all logistics, right? It's all like numbers and flights and talking to venues about their lighting rigs. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I have a wonderful team of people who are doing all that, but that's the less fun part. But I still love it, because it means I get to be in creative control of everything I do, you know? Oh, somebody has asked how Jinx and I met 400 times, and I have told this story 400 times, but I guess your persistence deserves an answer. You could literally just Google it and find 20 billion interviews where we both talk about this. However, here we go. Let me drink some water. Jinx and I met in, I want to say 2008, somewhere thereabouts, in Seattle. I don't know. I moved to Seattle in 2007, very early 2007. I don't know. Maybe it was 2009. Probably 2009. Anyway, so I was performing full-time in Seattle. I was producing shows, a lot of the rest of the stuff. I was mostly working with burlesque artists, circus artists, comedians, musicians, contemporary dancers. That was like, you know, I was sort of part of like the variety cabaret scene more than the drag scene. And, you know, I obviously love drag, but what I was doing was just more in that sort of theatrical world and variety world. And I didn't know other queens who were really doing similar things to me. So, God, I guess just like, I don't know, on Facebook, MySpace, I don't know what era was it then, I started seeing this queen popping up like friends of friends. She just was sort of like suddenly all over everything, and she was just like, I don't know. She had just graduated from Cornish, which is the College of the Arts there in Seattle, and she was doing these cabaret shows, starting to do them around town with her musical partner and performance partner, Major Scales. And I was like, who is Jinx Monsoon? I'm like interested and intrigued, but I have no idea. Anyway, I'm going to go check it out. And I was hanging out with my friend Fuchsia Fox, who was a burlesque performer and belly dancer who I worked with at the Can at the time. And I was like, Fuchsia, do you want to go check this out? And the two of us went. It was at a Starbucks at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The show was free. I walk into this like busy open Starbucks, and there's like, I don't know, 20 folding chairs set up in the corner, a keyboard on a stand. We all sit down, and then out of like the restroom, which is her changing area, walks Jinx Monsoon. Major Scales takes his seat at the keyboard. I'm like, what is this weird situation? Could not have been like a less glamorous scenario. And she just frickin' blew me out of the water. They proceeded to do an early incarnation of their show, The Vaudevillians, which then, you know, years later sold out multiple runs and got multiple extensions in New York. And it was just amazing. And I turned to my friend Fuchsia and I said, I gotta make friends with her and start working with her right now, because if we don't team up, we're gonna be rivals. So I handed her my business card, because that was the days when people actually handed people printed business cards, and told her I thought her work was great and to get in touch. And she apparently had already heard about me from one of her drama teachers, who was her favorite teacher, Kira McDonald, who I had done some work with. She ran a solo performance festival in Seattle. And Kira told Jinx that, like, if she wanted to get in a drag, I was the one to know. And I didn't know that. So anyway, Jinx and I connected that way. I actually had her audition for a show, which is, God, what was it? Oh, it was my 4th of July show, Freedom Fantasia, I think. Or maybe she was in the holiday show I was doing at the time first. Anyway, we started working together. We hit it off. I don't know. Rest is history. That's the story of me and Jinx Monsoon. Anyway, blah, blah, enough about Jinx. Come to my show tonight at Dynasty Typewriter. If you're in LA and you, just went through the insanity of DragCon, have I got the show for you? Tickets available at bendelacreme.com. And I'm going to a bunch of different cities after tonight. Tonight's the last LA show. And then we're off to Salt Lake City. And then a bunch of other places. I forget. Florida, we're going to Fort Lauderdale, Orlando. Then we're hitting the UK in June. A bunch of UK dates. Then back to the United States. A bunch of Canadian dates. Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver. That might be it. Don't get all mad at me, Canadians. I know how much you hate when those are the only cities people go to, but I do what I can. I'm coming to Toronto. I literally said, I'm coming to Toronto, and then a comment said, come to Toronto. And get your tickets at bendelacreme.com. Somebody just said, will there be more dates for Drag Becomes Her? Buy tickets to my show, and I'll tell you there. That's what I'm plugging right now. Alright, I've spent way too long on this foundation. It's 4:05. I have to leave at 4:30, and I'm supposed to be fully painted. I guess I don't really have to. Am I really leaving at 4:30? Is that true? To be at the theater at 5, because I'm rehearsing with Meredith, because Meredith has to take over. Meredith is my company manager who I travel with, and they have to take over the backstage duties that Gus usually does, because Gus will not be traveling with me for June. And Meredith is wonderful, but we're still teaching them to sub in for Gus. So I'm going in early so that we can just rehearse that with them. That means is that I'm like painting early so we can rehearse and then open doors and get ready and blah, blah, blah. This is so boring. Why am I even telling you this? That's the boringest information. I take it back. I take back everything that I just said. Good luck, Angela, on your interviews. I'm sure you'll kill it. Angela is one of my very sweet fans from New York City who comes to all my shows there. Always happy to see her. I have a lot of very sweet fans and some absolutely crazy fans. You know who you are. I'm always coming on here and then just like, I do my makeup on here and it takes me like 6 times as long. And then I always talk about that. And then I always talk about how slowed down I am. And then I do it over and over and over. But you know what? That's a metaphor for life. Okay, I'm powdering. I'm just deciding that this is this. We're powdering. How do I remove all this makeup? I don't. I just layer more and more on each day. My head was like 2 inches smaller when I first started. Any advice for your driving test on Thursday? Yes. My advice on your driving test is the same advice that I have about everything for everyone, because I actually say this to people all the time. It's a metaphor that somebody told me early on in my life, and I think about it constantly. It's surprisingly hard to apply. But the thing that I found most useful when I was learning how to drive was the fact that if you do something wrong, if you run a stop sign or something like that when you're first learning and figuring it out, the worst thing you can do is keep thinking about it. The worst thing you can do is look in the rearview mirror and wonder about what you messed up and what you could have done differently. You got to keep your eyes on the road. 10 and 2, eyes in front of you. Or something else will happen. Right? And I think that's, right, like that's a thing with just how to drive a car, but it's also a thing with how to try to live your life, and it's really hard. I mean, I get so hung up on mistakes I've made, things I regret, things I wish had gone differently. The second you do that, you make a different choice. Happens to me on stage. Every once in a while, I'll flub a line, and I'll find myself thinking about the line I just flubbed instead of thinking about the next line I'm going to say. And then you flub the next line. I've gotten better at it, but it happens. It's just a universal life thing. Not universal life. Isn't that like a weird church? Oh wait, is universal life the church where you get ordained online so that you can officiate weddings in like a week? Where's my powder? My dark powder. My dark loose powder. Here it is. Talk about my decision to self-eliminate. Absolutely not. I've been talking about it for like 4 years. Google it. You're already on the internet. The only thing on the internet is porn and information. Go find out. How long does it take me to take my makeup off and decompress after a show? Like 5 hours. I am the worst at getting to sleep after shows. It drives me crazy, but I've also just kind of grown to live with it. First of all, depends on the show, but like certainly after this show, I'm usually like really exhausted. I have to take so much makeup on for this show too because I sweat a lot, and I'm so exhausted that I will literally just like, I mean, right now we're in LA, so we're home. So it's kind of like harder. Like usually I like have to take my makeup off and get out of the venue because we're like going to a hotel and then traveling to wherever. But when I'm home in LA, excuse me, when I'm home in LA, I will just wear my makeup home and I'll be like, I'm just going to take it off as soon as I get home. And then I will just like crash on the couch and eat something and be like, I'm just going to watch some TV, and I will like leave my makeup on because I'm just too lazy to take it off. Anyway, it'll take me like an hour to finally take my makeup off, and then I'm like still usually buzzing. I have to take melatonin to sleep after. I just like, I don't know, I get so hyped up. I'll be tired all day, then I'll do a show, and then I'll and then that's the end. No, I'll be tired all day, and then I'll do a show, and then I'll have all the energy that I wish I had had during the rest of the day. Okay, here we are. We finished the foundation. It took 45 minutes. What the hell is wrong with me? Okay, now we're gonna just like jam out as much of an eye as I can jam out in 15, 17 minutes. 17 minutes. I'm going to do as much of an eye as I can. So don't talk to me. Stop bothering me. Just kidding, bother me. But, like, also don't. Here's what I mean. I mean, continue to try to bother me while I ignore you. I guess that's what I'm looking for. Right? I want to be wanted. Yeah, I wear blush. I just do it at the end. I do blush after eyes. That's just me. That's just something about me. That's my least favorite thing for people to say. That's just something about me. When people act like tell you a piece of information and then they like proudly say whatever, you know, like they indicate at the other end that they are somehow like unique for loving pizza or whatever. Oh, I forgot to put down my little drop cloth to catch any dark makeup so I can sweep it away later. No, it's true. We are all unique. But the people who say, it's just a little something about me, are never saying anything unique. I guarantee it. Oh, you work at Patio? Oh, God, I'm assuming that's usually where Jinx and I get lobster. I miss Provincetown so much. I haven't been there since 2019. It's really, I mean, I've been performing in Provincetown for longer than I've ever lived anywhere. So really it is like